think that you folks have to, and I meeting of Ways and Means come to order.
All right, this is the Committee on Ways and Means. This is Thursday, February 15, 2018. We're at 6 p.m. I have Council McKinnon.
Here.
I have Council Matusky. Council Matusky. I got Council Simonelli. Council Matusky. And Council Matusky. We got 3 members present. We do have a quorum.
Please stand to salute the flag. I have one regret. Councilman McLaughlin will not be in attendance tonight. Please read the first order of business.
All right, first piece of business is the ordinance, offered by Council Peter Napolitano as president. An ordinance amending the dumpster fee schedule.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take the first item of business.
Councilman Matusky.
We have, actually the second, we have the fire department here, I see.
We'll, on the first one, favor, motion, and then have Sergio come up for 2.
Okay, I'd like to invite the city clerk.
Motion, second, to have the city clerk before us. All those in favor? All those in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so. State your name and title, sir.
Thank you, Councilors. Sergio Cornelio, City Clerk for the City of Everett.
Thank you. Councilman Matusky.
On item number 1, this is to do with the dumpster fee schedule, Mr. President. I believe that it hasn't changed in 25 years.
Yes.
And I'd like the city clerk to explain exactly what the increase is.
Yep. So this is a referral from the Board of Health. They ended up having a meeting about 6 weeks ago. They asked for this prior to the new year. I said that we couldn't put it on the agenda until this year because of the time restraints with an ordinance. You know, it takes about a month to enact. So they presented this to me at the beginning of the year, and it's now before you. The changes are to coincide with other communities so that we're very similar. We're actually still going to be less than a lot of them, but it's so we move back into the same range as all the local municipalities, Chelsea, Medford, Malden, Somerville, Revere.
What's the increase?
There's different increases for different parts of the ordinances, but in essence, they're almost doubling. They go from either 25 to 50, 50 to 100. Some of them go up only, so from 75 to 125. It depends on which one you're looking at. There are 4 portions of this ordinance that are amended for the fee schedule. It's different permitting, and they added it's from properties that are less than 8 units, properties more than 8 units, commercial properties, so there's different categories.
How long ago did we establish these, and how long has it been that they've been on the books?
God, I think in the ordinance it was 9, yeah, it was a little more than 20 years.
So it's
I think
been
it was
20 years?
96, to be exact, either 95 or 96
We need
when
to
we
come up with
enacted them.
times.
So, they're quite, old. So it's the policy of some of the other departments along with us. We're looking at revising all of our ordinances, especially our fee schedules. So this was their time. The Board of Health will be revising more of them, but they started with the dumpsters to see how it goes, and they'll little by little present more and more to the City Council.
Thank you.
So this is just the
Councilman
beginning.
Matusky? Floor is
Thank
still
you,
yours.
Mr. President. I just want to know exactly the fee schedule on the dumpsters themselves. Is that on-
That's the fire one. So
That's the fire.
it's not in a chart form on
All right, we'll
on
say
this.
somebody remodeling their house, they're going to get a dumpster, and right now they're paying, what, $25?
Nope. Currently, they're paying $75. They'll be going up to $150.
So we're doubling that to 150. And this is,
And the other local municipalities are between $150 and $200 on that one. The other ones are all in line. Malden does $50 for temporary, $300 for yearly. Ours, we're going up for one of our fees from $25 to $65, and the other one, we're going up from $50 to $100. So yes, in essence, we're doubling most of them, but they're still going to be the same as other municipalities or less. We're
what
not
about the
going
s-
above them.
The smaller dumpsters, not the large ones, that some businesses have.
Those
Those are excluded?
Those are different. That's not in this fee schedule. This is for dumpsters for contractors, for $100. This is also for residential units, 8 units or more is 100. 8 units or less, 100. 8 units or more, $125 per dumpster per year. So it's a
And-
rental fee for and that's for the whole year.
And who gets the permit? The person renting the dumpster or the dumpster company?
Well, for property, so if it's like a commercial property, it would probably be the owner of the property.
Owner or
Residential
contractor?
units, like 8 units, you'd
Owner
have
or contractor
a
goes where?
management company that probably rented through them.
All set, Counselor, or?
No, I remember, I just want to take it back a few years, but let's see, 37 years ago, I remember when this ordinance first came out, it was $20 or $25 for a dumpster because I had to rent one.
Yep.
I had to get a permit. And here we flash back 37 years, here we are today. But this ordinance was written in '83.
Originally.
Or '82. '82, actually, because I had property down the line area, and I recall having to rent the dumpster. And this is recommended by the,
Board of Health, they've
Board of
passed
Health.
this, yep. And they're the ones that issue the permits.
okay, so the Board of Health is recommending it, and I have no further questions of the clerk.
All set, Counselor? Councilman Simonelli? You all-
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you for Councilman Simonelli. Is the fire department in favor of this ordinance?
That's for the.
That's the next one.
That'd be the next one.
This
We're
is
on,
on
we're on the
dumpsters.
Board of Health dumpster fee.
Okay, thank you.
There's 2 different
Yeah.
pieces.
Are you all set with this piece? Thank you, Counselor. Favorable action on it?
I'd like to recommend favorable action because the Board of Health recommended it, and it hasn't changed in a few years, and maybe it's probably a good idea.
Favorable action and seconded on the order. Please read the roll. Oh, all right. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so.
Item number 2 is ordinance sought by Council Peter Napolitano as president. An ordinance amending the fire permit fee schedule.
Councilman Matusky.
Invite up the,
Motion
Chief
made and
Cowley
seconded
of
to
the
have
Fire
the chief
Department
of
and the
fire
city
come
clerk.
before us, and the city clerk as well. Please state your names and titles, please, for the record.
Anthony Colley, Fire Chief.
How are you tonight, chief?
Good counselor yourself.
Good.
You want Sergio Canelio, City Clerk.
Back again, Sergio. Can't get enough.
Can't do it without him.
No, I think you can, but.
Councilman Matusky, you have the floor. No, Councilman Simonelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you for Councilman Simonelli. Is the fire department in favor of this ordinance?
Yes, Counselor, through the chair.
That's all I want to know.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Again, we've been
Councilman
about
Matusky?
20 years. We've been about 20 years
Same.
waiting for this. Yep.
Okay. Councilman Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. To the fire chief, I agree that some of these are very low, and I just first want to say, the fire department in this city is outstanding. In the last 6 months, I personally witnessed them saving lives of people having drug overdoses.
We appreciate that, Counselor.
And I was there, one was a neighbor, and two I just happened to see. But it is amazing what your department has done, and you're saving lives every day, and I just can't believe the extent of what the men and women of your department go through. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Counselor, and we appreciate the support that we get in the chambers as well. Thank you.
On the increases here, now, I know that they all seem very reasonable, I just want to say that, even with the increase, but I had an occasion that a businessman told me that his fire alarm went off, and he had to have a fire detail, a person there for 24 hours, whenever it was repaired. Is that how it works?
Under 4 hours, we don't allow, we won't put a fire detail there, but if it takes longer and it's an occupied building, it's case-by-case basis. So if it's through the night, it's a residential apartment or an occupancy, we do that for life safety. Obviously, if the code dictated that there was a fire alarm system needed and it's out, we never want to take the chance that something might happen there. The code reads within 4 hours, they have to get it repaired, so a lot of times, you know, if it's the middle of the night, someone can't get there, we'll do something like that.
Okay.
But it's not a blanket that we put a fire detail right away.
Okay, cutting and welding is increased from 20 to 50, so that means somebody we know what happened in Boston and Back Bay.
Absolutely.
And it's very important that people know what they're doing with that, and maybe the $50 will expand on that. A false alarm, third or more in 30-day delete and put in 50. Do people actually have more than 3 false? Now,
We try not to get them to that point. If we start to see, if you start to see a false alarm and it happens once or twice in a 24-hour period, we know there's something really going on. Our property owners are pretty concerned with fire safety, rightfully so they get somebody out there rather quickly. Prior to being fire chief, I spent 7 of my years on the fire department in fire prevention, and I don't think I can remember ever issuing one of these fees for 20 or 50.
well, it's probably a good idea to have it. This is the first time I've actually seen the increases,
Sure.
so. Nursing home, delete 50 and put in 250 quarterly, well, that, because you inspect that more often.
Again, required to by law. You'll see that the larger increases are when it involves my manpower and fire prevention. If it's just issuing a permit from the desk, we tried to keep them as low as possible. And again, with the help of Sergio, we were able to research the surrounding communities to, you know.
If I may, Counselor, but I think in response to that, I mean, you're sending people out there to inspect these, so, I mean,
Exactly.
we're incurring some of the cost of that.
Exactly.
So, as a city, we need to actually move forward, I believe.
Absolutely.
I'll be voting for it tonight.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman Buchanan, we had an occasion, and I had it on the agenda for a couple of months, that ExxonMobil, for 4 months, had an alarm going off every day
Yep.
for hours, 3 in the morning till, say, 10 in the morning. And this is
No, I
in
remember.
my neighborhood. Now, your deputy chief, DeToli, actually
Yes.
went down there.
Yep.
Now, those people should have been fined, because you can't hear it at your fire station,
Absolutely.
but it was a very annoying situation, and it went on in my neighborhood where I live, Paris Street, Bailey Street, Lewis Street, and not only that, it impacted the business people in the area. And I had to track it down myself, because I thought it was coming from Chelsea, to be honest with you. But in their case, now that was a horn type of alarm, when the tanks are low. Are you aware of all what's been going on down there?
I am. Through my deputy, he briefed me on that, and I was aware that he spoke to you about it, and he also spoke to the superintendent at Exxon about it. I believe the situation's been remedied at this point, correct?
All right, well, they're planning a new alarm system in the springtime, but I was supposed to get a written report on it. You know, I believe in emails too, but I want that company to be on guard, Mr. Chief, because blatantly, they weren't doing the right thing. Now, the reason for that is the manpower. They didn't have a security person there. I mean, you could hear it if you were on the Exxon terminal, main
Absolutely.
office, anywhere in that area.
Absolutely.
And for them to be so lackadaisical
Yeah.
with that flammable material, they have over 20 tanks down there.
I know. Absolutely.
You know, and Councilman Simonelli wanted to know also the quality, what's in those tanks, and are they full, they empty?
They have gasoline, diesel, heating, fuel.
So it's very flammable.
Absolutely. We take major stakeholders down in that area of the city very seriously. District Gas, Exxon.
So where are they on this list for increases?
So, interestingly enough, they're not on this list. They actually fall under a licensing and maybe.
Which is me. So we're working on that. I'm redoing our license fees, and I'll be bringing that before you in the coming months. And those companies will be seeing some increases, and I'm working with our city solicitor along with the cities of Boston, Somerville, Revere, that have very similar tanks that I'm trying to. I'm doing the same type of report.
And I'm going to speak on this, reason being is because I was involved with that as well. Captain DeToli did a great job.
Deputy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I demoted him.
Deputy.
That's all right.
Demote him like that,
That's
we
a
make
quick.
him like that. Hey, whatever. Deputy DeToli did a great job in reporting back to Mr. Matusky, my colleague, but on that, I want to make sure that they're paying their fair share there.
And I agree, and that's, just so you know.
And, you know, and if they're going to have these alarms all hours of the nights disturbing our communities, we also need to be right on top of them and finding them as well, if in fact they're doing that, so.
If we find a blatant disregard for managing alarm systems, we have no problem issuing fines in that case. You know,
And that's what I got out of Deputy DeToli.
yeah.
so.
Because
he was right on top of it, Chief.
Especially with homeowners or people that own apartment buildings and things like that, I'd rather see the money spent back into making sure that alarm system is working and the people are safe. It's really a last resort. But we definitely want some teeth to carry those violations through.
You're going to be getting them shortly, I believe, through our
The
city clerk.
licensing through the city clerk is really the way to go as far as increasing larger fees. I mean, they're a lot different than this when you get into the quantities that these companies.
Well, they're a
are.
major corporation, so don't be too
Yeah,
shy with the fee structures.
We're going to be fair, but we're going to get in line with other municipalities. So
Absolutely. Councilman Matus, you still have the floor.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Councilman McKinnon stated, he actually heard the alarm. He visits my mother periodically. And he said, what is that noise? I said, well, now you mention it, I had 4 or 5 neighbors over a period of 3 months. And I kind of, you know, I had to deal with these airplane issues, the noise issues. And I don't want to seem like a chronic noise complainer here, but, you know, this was a serious matter to my neighborhood. And Deputy Chief
Yep.
did a wonderful job. He actually called me. I have a lot of respect for city employees that actually call councilmen and tell them what's going on.
He does a great
explained
job.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man. And I want to thank him, but I would like a written report so that I know what I'm talking about when I deal with ExxonMobil. I'm not done with them, by the way. I think they're one of the biggest corporations in the world, and they can't fix their alarm system. And because of security, they should have 24-hour security on top of that. Nobody's there. The sidewalks roll up there when the 6 o'clock bell rings. And this was unfortunate, and if I want you really to take a close look down there.
I
because
absolutely will.
not only in where the tanks are, but they also own property
Down on the
abutting
waterfront.
Robin Street.
Yep.
I don't even know what's going on that area. But, you know, at this point, I don't trust this company. And I hope the city clerk, you have no idea what they're paying in repair? Or do you?
I'm just studying it. I won't lie to you. I'm just getting into the process.
We need Chelsea, we need Revere.
Yeah,
we need
like
all the
just like the
surrounding
chief
ones
did.
that
I
are
do
touched.
very similar reports. I do analysis of all the local municipalities. It makes it easier for me, and that way, I'm never too much more, or,
Sure.
I like to be
It
in
makes
line
it
with
fair.
other cities. Yes,
Fair.
like to be
All right.
fair, so.
Well, I think that due to the manpower extended by this city in that area and the inconvenience, take that in consideration.
And I'll have a meeting with the chief on what it costs for certain things when they go down there.
And that can be
We'll have that.
incorporated into your
Yes,
licensing from
I'll
now
definitely
on.
work with the chief on that.
We work closely together on so many issues. I don't doubt we won't on this.
Mr. Matusky, you all set? I have
Just one other
question.
thing I
Sure.
wanted to mention. Deputy Chief Natoli, when the weather gets warmer, there's several councilmen that would like to take an interest in, Councilman Simonelli is interested in, and Councilman McKinnon would like to take a walkthrough in that property. Now, we've all heard with the casino coming in, and I just want to mention this, and I want this, when whoever contacts ExxonMobil, what their future plans are, because we've all heard, Mr. Chairman, I think you and I heard it together, that some kind of golf course or a nine-hole golf course was going to possibly go in there. Now, that sounds like a Disney World thing, especially now under the
Current
casino
climate.
issue, the current climate. But, I want to know what they're doing down there. If the tanks are empty, which I understand most of them are, tanks are empty. Nobody knows exactly what's going on over there. And that's what I want to know.
Well, in the fire service, we treat an empty tank as a full tank.
Oh, is
You
that
know,
right?
Yeah, we treat them the same way. Vapor barriers, certain things, there's inherent risks, whether it's full of a fuel or if it's empty. So, to me, and not to sound crass, it doesn't matter if they're all full or they're
No,
all
that-
empty. We treat it the same.
Good,
way.
I'm glad of that.
And just so you know, I also do. Our fees are based off capacity. If they have 1 gallon and they can contain 10 million gallons, I charge them as 10 million gallons, not 1 gallon. It's your capacity. You have the capacity to use this much, that's how you charge. And that's by state
that
law,
right?
not by my rules. That's state law dictates that, so we charge them for their capacity, just so you know.
Not to dwell on it, but the LNG tanks are very, the exposure to the lax compliance from ExxonMobil
Yeah.
scares me, because they're next door to are they? Oh,
They're in the vicinity.
Vicinity.
They're
yeah,
all
they're
the
right
island
next door,
end
so if
area.
they're that lackadaisical, unless I'm living in another planet here, for 4 months that their alarm went off every day, it concerns me quite a bit. Concerns me for our development that's going on down there and everything else that's happening. They're gonna be digging up Beecham Street, digging up Robin Street, this company that just was here the other night. They're gonna be there for 4 months. God only knows what could happen. But I really want to thank our city clerk, Cornelio, and Chief Cowley, and especially Deputy Chief Natoli. That man actually, the service he provided to me as a councilman, I appreciate. That's what I call good government. And at least I know what's going on in my backyard. I only live 60, 70 feet away from this nightmare that we had to go through. But anyway, if the fire chief is in favor of it and the city clerk is in favor of these increases, I am compelled to vote in favor. So I'll make a motion for favorable action.
There's one more speaker. Councilman Simonelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, for Councilman Simonelli. Part of the question is for Sergio and the other part's for the chief. In the future, is there any plans of taking these tanks out? Do we need them? Do they need them? And are they dangerous? Are they safe? Are there any problems with the tanks? And aside from the alarm,
I know.
is there any one thing down there that may be jeopardizing or make Everett unsafe?
So Joe, answer all that.
Yeah.
That's a 10-part question, not a 2, a 10-part.
Don't make me sweat.
And I'm giving leeway on this, reason being is I'd like to just push it
Absolutely.
forward, just to have a couple of questions on that.
So the whole facility falls under what's called MARSEC. It's called Marine Security. It was passed after 9/11. So they're really governed by the Coast Guard as far as how well they keep
Sure.
protected. And as much as that alarm was a nuisance, and I completely agree, no one wants something ringing at all hours of the night within earshot of your family in your home. It wasn't a fire alarm, it wasn't, it was a fill alarm, an empty alarm. But still, they're still required to research it and fix it and be good neighbors. As far as the overall facility, I don't know their future plans. I hear the rumors just like everybody else. I know they're still operating a tank yard. I know they still take in ships on their docks. We regularly inspect. Part of these permits you see here, we bill them to regularly inspect. It's not something that we're required by law to inspect on a regular basis, but due to the nature of their business, we're out there as often as we can be with the team we have. So we try to keep in contact, keep a good relationship with the superintendent down there. Anytime we've asked him to do anything, it was testament once Deputy DeToli spoke with him, that he got it repaired rather quickly. They help us out a lot in the same sense. We store some extra apparatus down there when we don't have a place to put it in the city, so they've been good neighbors to us, but we want to make sure that that's related to the true good neighbors.
Does that answer your question, Counsel? All right.
Just so you know, the chief's department has been great about working with me as city clerk. Many of our licensees are on these lists, so I actually come out to some of them when there's issues. Them and the NISD actually really work well with me. We're really a good team. Deputy DeToli and Lieutenant Hurley have been great to keep me abreast of a lot of the situations
Got a
that go
good group
on.
of guys there, that's why.
It's really been enlightening to me. I'm learning a lot, and they've been really good to work with. Just so you know.
Just to touch on it, what I remember from when I had testimony and when Tom Menino was still alive, we were discussing how LNG was going to come in and all that stuff. We had testimony from Homeland Security, Washington, D.C. here. We also had NSA, along with the colonel for Coast Guard that was running the base across the way there. So there was a number of things that we had that were in line, and one of them was a no-fly zone. That was brought up at a meeting that I believe me and you were at one point.
Yep.
They had no clue of what I was trying to get to or talk about. I'm not interested in that property. I'm interested in what's next to that property.
Exactly.
So that was just a statement from me to you. But, all right, motion on this? Thank you for appearing. Excuse customary thanks.
Thank you for
very
your
much.
time and your consideration with this. I appreciate it. I will.
And what's the motion?
Thank you, Mr.
Favorable action.
Motion,
I'll
favorable
second the
action.
motion.
Motion for favorable action and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. We will reconvene to sign more bills in the back for Ways and Means. So I will see you back there.